US and Russia are not enemies, but they play good cop and bad cop. Do not dismiss this notion. Its mission and function are relayed to nearly every nation globally. One of the two factions will come and escort you, positioning you accordingly. Your location inherently signifies a coordinate opposing the other equal. Balances, conflicts, economic strife, political disputes, assassinations, and alliances all conform to this path. Let's delve into it. Turkey is approaching local elections with a slightly distinct tone, placing Istanbul rematch at its epicenter. Just as CHP struggles to maintain the global tempo, it appears poised to lose Istanbul. Civil wars are acknowledged. There are no confines to dreams, readings, and roadmaps, both internal and external. Losing internally hampers the ability to speak externally. Let's transition from external to internal. Russian Foreign Intelligence Service Director Naryshkin declared that the West contemplated fomenting a revolution in Russia but failed. The speaker's identity is crucial and the topics they discuss. Naryshkin asserted, "I can affirm that the West genuinely believes in its technological prowess to overthrow unwanted regimes. Indeed, they are responsible for the chaos of the Arab Spring and the tragedy of the Ukrainian Maidan, whose consequences the world still grapples with today. Of course, none of this pertains to Russia. It didn't work in, it won't work in," he sharply expressed. While Narışkın initially mentioned the U.S. intelligence community in his speech, he later revealed his true adversaries. Russia's top intelligence officer, Naryshkin, stated, "British MI6 trained Ukrainian sabotage and reconnaissance groups planning provocations at nuclear power plants in Russia." In essence, British intelligence infiltrated Russia, reminiscent of the Prigogyin Rebellion. Their goal was to create a new wave through nuclear power plants. The Russians countered these operations with strategic moves. That's the narrative. So, what have I been articulating for years? Unlike others, Russia is the secret partner of the USA. Washington's true rival is England, which seeks to revive its empire. Continue. Russia also undertook a significant mission as an important country. It's crucial to comprehend and avoid hyperbole. A declassified document from the U.S. National Security Archive unveiled that former Russian President Yeltsin, in a 1994 meeting with Clinton, proposed that if NATO expanded, Russia should be the first to join the alliance. Don't be surprised. Do you still believe that Russia is against the USA? Let's progress. A declassified document from the U.S. National Security Archive illuminated a pivotal moment in 1994. On January 14, 1994, leaders Yeltsin and Clinton dined in Novoogoryovo. Yeltsin, seated at the head of the table, remarked, "We must establish a kind of cartel contributing to international security, including the USA, Russia, and European countries." It was a sensible, natural approach addressing problems. Yeltsin emphasized its significance, stating that other Central and Eastern European countries would follow Moscow. Russia, the significant state succeeding the Soviets, took a step toward resolving all issues, awaiting acceptance. Rightly so? Although it looked good on paper, profound issues wouldn't unfold that easily. Global balance was crucial. Major powers like the USA required the other. It's akin to a seesaw. An adversary on the forefront, a close ally in the background. Clinton, unsurprised by what he heard, replied, "Continuing our current relations presents unique opportunities. Only this way can we ensure 100 years of peace in Europe." Essentially, he affirmed what I had been writing for years. Who? The US president. What did he actually mean with this response? We must continue with the good police bad cop scenario. The perception of nuclear warfare aids us in controlling the EU. We already hold the energy cards. You are our enemy in front of the cameras. You and we know the truth. He stated. Even though Eastern Europe, mentioned at the dinner, joined NATO, Russia remained outside. It had to stay that way. Even from the moon's perspective, there's no possibility that Moscow would be Washington's rival, opponent, or enemy. It doesn't exist militarily, strategically, economically, or technologically. But what mattered was their capability to threaten Europe. Something the USA had conceded to the Kremlin long ago. Clinton's chief of staff had already endorsed what I wrote long ago. So, I had him approve this balance too. He was taken aback. Anyway, the reason England selected Russia and Putin as a covert target was to disrupt and dismantle this significant balance. The moment Moscow became inert, the good cop bad cop narrative would conclude. They were aware. Capturing Russia completed the connection with China, and the European Union inevitably depended on this alliance. Thus, Russia was indispensable for Washington. Pay no heed to their skirmishes and clamor. Don't be fooled. If the USA wanted, Putin could not even capture a town in Ukraine. The purpose was to shake Europe and make Moscow play the role of bad cop. It already happened. Once they were on this solid ground, they would turn to China because they could not walk to London. This meant a storm that engulfed our region. Didn't the Russians attack Mehmeti in Syria? What did the USA do? Was there a single voice as a NATO member? While we couldn't get even a single plane across the border, Israel was flying everywhere and shooting whatever it wanted. Assad was dependent on Putin. How come Russia couldn't say it? Think. PKK, YPG, Hamas, Israel, Iran, Hezbollah, and the Middle East were considered as a whole. They were talking among themselves. We had to find direction according to these discussions. It was a Sweden move. We gave approval. This wasn't a surprise either. But in return, talking about the F-16 meant not understanding what was going on at all. While global role distribution was being made, the subject could not be aircraft. It wasn't anyway. That's why British Foreign Secretary Cameron was coming to Turkey. He was meeting with Hakan Fidan. Just as the USA and Russia were designing Europe with energy and weapons, it would be the Middle East's turn and then China's turn. Since London knew this, he wanted to strike early. His aim was to collapse the Kremlin from within. The headlines of Russia will occupy Europe were also meant to raise Europeans. However, 65% of Russia's military power was positioned against China. This duo would change the Kurdish problem, the Israel issue, and the Middle East equation. That was their intention. The other side was pressing, "Your time is up, you will give back my empire." Trump responded by making the Queen stand in Windsor for 20 minutes. Biden also met with Putin one-on-one in Geneva and gave him the continue a massage. There will be mutual attacks. Someone would be forced to choose a location, and someone would pay a bill because of the location they chose. This is the issue and the position. Even if the opposition could not understand it, Turkey would be on the winning side.